Yo, like the thing with the string. It's your boy Chep Woods, and welcome back to Generational Money. Today I got my boy Rickey Layfield with me. What's up, Rickey? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, brother. How you feeling today?
Man, I'm making it, man. Why don't you go ahead and tell the people who you are and a little bit about what you do?
Got you. Rickey Layfield, born and raised in Chicago, from over east side crazy. Love to say it. I work in nonprofit and education, so I actually got 2 full-time roles right now. They ask me how I do it, but I figure it out. I work with youth guidance, becoming a man program as a regional manager. So I have about 13 counselors in 13 different schools, and they do youth male counseling. So social emotional learning, things like that. And then I have my own nonprofit, Urban Male Network, and I'm a chief operations officer. So I pretty much do operations, try to figure out policies that work for us. I mean, I do everything in the org, though. We're still a small organization, but we service about 300 youth. So it's a lot of work, but that's what I do professionally.
Dope. That's tough, man. And that's really like why I wanted to have you come on, because one, I didn't know you was like double time. You feel me? I knew about the Urban Male Network, but I didn't know that you had a high role at BAM. So that's dope. That's something that I saw a lot growing up. Still see some of the T-shirts today, to this day. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
So which one? Like, did you develop Urban Male Network? Would that develop before your role at BAM, or did you have the role at BAM first?
So it's crazy. Urban Male Network, we worked on that probably like 6 months before I got into BAM.
Okay.
However, one of the board members is the reason why I even got with BAM, because he was a counselor with BAM at the time.
Okay.
So I seen it and I was like, what's that? And he was a counselor over at Julian, and I began to, I volunteered with them. And that's how I became a counselor back in like 2014, 2015.
Facts.
I was at John Hope. Urban Male Network, it's been around since 2014. However, like in the last 3 years, we started to really take off and focus on it. And that really happened because the founder ended up getting fired from his job.
Okay.
And from there, it was kind of like, I've been doing the work for other people. I'm gonna start building my own so I can have more control over how we serve the youth and when and what we doing.
Absolutely. I used to work nonprofit. I was a case manager. And I can definitely say it was for a nice sized organization in Chicago. They got a clinic and they do housing. They got a shelter. They got multiple locations. They got clinics in the burbs. And, we used to have meetings about like how we thought things should go. And I'm like on the bottom level. I'm a case manager. I'm boots on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the like higher ups, the suits, they didn't too much care about what the people on the bottom had to say. It's like we actually dealing with these people. We actually know what is needed, what resources needed, what type of connections need to be made. Like our voice should be at least considered. And I found that wasn't the case. So for you to, want to obviously.
And my assumption is most of the higher ups probably wasn't our color, right?
Unfortunately, it's pretty much all our color with the exception of like one lady and their child,
Okay.
They just detached, man. Is definitely unfortunate, you know what I'm saying?
It is unfortunate.
You got some black crabs and you got some black folk like yourself who actually do it. See, they don't even really believe in their mission. It's all like paperwork, politics, just grant money, trying to make sure that paperwork is good for all this. It's like the people matter less than the paper with that type of organization. And they don't service the youth. They service like at-risk adults, homeless population. So it's not really, the same angle, but it's still like, you got a mission and a vision. You want to like really be true to it. So myself personally, that kind of made me feel like, working a job or working for somebody when I know I got good ideas and they not being accepted, it made me feel like, I gotta have some of my own. Even if I'm still working for somebody else, because I have to, I gotta build my own thing up to where I got some say so, because I definitely just think I got some decent ideas. So where did you go to school? Where you get your degree?
I went to NIU. So I got my bachelor's in political science around like 2013, and I got my master's in higher ed with an emphasis in student development in 2016.
Okay. You got the master's from NIU as well?
Yeah, I got both degrees from NIU.
That's dope. I went to EIU for a little minute, but I finished at Chicago State. But I ain't gonna get the master's, so salute to you for.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, growing up, I didn't even know what a master's was, nigga. So when people ask me about more school, I'm like, more school? I'm like, what's that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm done. I'm tired of school, but I'm happy I got it, though. I think with the master's program, you could really focus on what you're interested in more than anything else. Right. You know, in undergrad, you know, you had a bunch of different classes, different subjects, things like that. You got to, you know, check some boxes off. But in the master's program, I was able just to focus on that.
So when you went to school initially and you start getting in the poli sci, like what was your vision? Like, what did you expect to be doing with your degree or after you finish? Like, you know what I'm saying?
So my real vision, so when I was at Hyde Park for high school, we had like a law class and I was in the streets kind of heavy. So my vision was to be the lawyer to get all the homies off.
Facts, right.
That was my vision.
And that really was going to like segue into like me asking what inspired you to get into what you get into. Cause I figure your upbringing got a lot to do with why you give back and why you deal with the youth to the capacity that you do. So I just want you to kind of like talk about that a little bit. Like,
so it's extremely personal for me. So my mama had me at 17, so I'm the product of a teen parent. And if you ever do any research like on Chicago, violence and poverty, it's a map where they color coded.
Facts.
And like dark blue was like the worst neighborhood. And I looked at this shit as an adult, and every neighborhood I lived in was dark blue.
Facts.
Like I went from the Trumbull Park homes to 79th to 62nd. Like every neighborhood I lived in was always dark blue. So I was just exposed to a lot. And like me and my mother was close, but once again, I had a teen parent. So, you know, we grew up without having things. And then once I got to high school, like my friend group, you know, we was pretty heavy into a lot of stuff we shouldn't have been doing, right? Pretty heavy into the street. And because we didn't have any guidance, we didn't have any role models, we was kind of figuring things out as we went along, and some of us paid the price for it. By the grace of God, I was only one of the few guys from my block to leave without a record. I was one of the few guys from my block to be able to make it to go to school. And I feel like it was because God had a bigger purpose for me. And the biggest thing was giving back. You know, we did a lot of shit back then that I'm not proud of. And I know that I put a lot of bad karma into the world. So I created a nonprofit like in undergrad, like as a freshman, one of my other mentors. And the biggest reason was for me to start creating that good karma and give back. So it's personal for me, man. You know, I feel like if me and my friends would have had a big homie that was positive or would have had more programming in high school, things would have been easier for us. We would have chose different paths other than what we was doing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I got a spiel. Like, to me, it started like during the civil rights movement. They kind of just like got rid of a lot of the leaders and then put like blaxploitation on the screen. So like my pops grew up, Malcolm X and King was alive. He a little boy, they get smoked. So now he grew up to the Mac, Shaft, Superfly, like how Pops was. He was that type of dude, you feel me? He was player. Never been married. I'm his only kid, I would imagine, you know what I'm saying? So I would just think like, man, if them dudes didn't get smoked, if they kind of kept controlling the information, what type of values we would have. And then not only that, you know, the welfare epidemic where if it was a man in a home, you couldn't get resources, and then they locking us up, putting drugs in the community. Like, I feel like prior to that time period, we was a little bit more together, and it was more role models around for the youth. You know what I'm saying? Not to say it wasn't messed up in the hood or the community, but like,
we had different values though, for sure.
The values, exactly. So I think that's ultimately what it boiled down to, because your values lead to your actions. You know what I'm saying? Like, and your attitudes, you know what I'm saying, lead to your behaviors. So, man, let me have my next question. Oh yeah, what I ask every episode, it seemed like now, talk to me about like some of the milestones and achievements you've had in your career thus far.
Yeah, man. So a few of them. So I grew up, like I said, over east. So I went to like Bradwell Elementary School. Like I'm close to the lakefront where I grew up at. We didn't have many resources. So I used to attend this youth center called Rebecca Crown Youth Center. So that's all we really had as a kid. They exposed me to different things that I probably wouldn't have even known about. Like I got to play golf as a kid. I got to go camping. You know what I'm saying? Like I got to do things that a kid without money wouldn't be able to do. And in the last year and a half, like I made sure my nonprofit partners with them to do events for the shorties. And they decided to give me like a Yes I Can award this year.
Oh man,
and it was crazy to me just because, we always envisioned going back and giving back, and I was actually able to do it. And it just felt crazy. Like I don't know what time where I remember just being a kid in there, just happy to go out of school, happy to go during the summer so I could stay out of trouble. So that was a good feeling. Another one, man, is I got a student who was one of my students when I was a counselor, and he ended up becoming a counselor himself, right? And I didn't really think about the impact I was making with them because I was doing it because I cared. But he let them know, like, with Layfield, he was at all my games. He was around. He feeling the void, that my father kind of was leaving. And I wasn't even thinking about that in that capacity. But now he's over at CBS doing the same work I was doing with him. So that's a milestone. Another one, bro.
Major milestone.
My fraternity just turned 60 years old. Well, not my fraternity, but my chapter, right? And my charter member's still alive. Like they did it in '64. So I got an award for like impact. And we only have that every 10 years because, it's 10-year anniversary. So it was just kind of dope to get that award and be up there with men who helped create my chapter and men who put in a lot of work. And they was at NIU when it was 99% white.
Fact.
They couldn't even really go to class or live on campus and stuff like that. So it was just, dope to see stuff like that, man. So.
And who did you pledge with?
I'm an alpha.
Did you say that already?
I didn't.
Okay, I'm like that.
No, I'm an alpha. Okay. So, I joined it because there's a lot of prestigious men in the fraternity who care about community, most of all. So it was just dope, being honored like that. I don't let it go to my head, but it's a good feeling. And it's like, okay, because for a long time, bro, doing this work, it don't really come with recognition like that. Like, if you do it for recognition, you playing yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and then even the cornballs who like get rich and really don't mean it, like at some point it's gonna hit the fan. You know what I'm saying? But man, let me ask you. I used to work on the adolescent behavior health unit at Roseland Hospital. So it was like at-risk youth, mental or just bad.
Yeah, I'm familiar. You was definitely
in the church.
For sure.
Some things that I kind of like, cause I love kids, like, and it's really kind of why I kind of look forward to doing that gig. But like getting through to the kids, like I know how to code switch. Right, I got a lot of homies from the streets. I don't really feel like I'm a product of the streets, but like I done been in some trouble. I done risked.
Explain that. You said you're not a product of the streets. What you mean by that?
Like just my values growing up didn't really line up with some of my homies' values, or some of the things that they wanted to do or was willing to risk doing. I'll probably be thinking about my mama and what she'll say. And like my mama moved me to the burbs when I was 8. My pop stayed in the hood, and he was in my life, and I visited him, but I didn't like grow up in that. Like, so some of the things that they probably felt like they had to do, I didn't really have to do, and I really wasn't like looking at. I don't know, like I rap, and when I was younger, I wasn't no conscious rapper. I'm a conscious rapper now, but I value knucklehead kid stuff, but it really wasn't like I really wasn't out here trying to really get into no bullshit. Or I really wasn't getting into no bullshit because my OG put me in a position to where I ain't had to. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? So, but again, my homies, I got homies who probably didn't even have a good OG. You feel me? So like they had to get it out the mud. They had to get out the mud. I don't cast no judgment, but it's just like I understand that our values a little different now because of that. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm around children, just try to talk to them about, like, you know, things that they into, and get a clear understanding on why they look at the things like that they look at the way they look at it. But I just want, because you work with kids at a higher capacity than I do. Way more kids too. Like, I got kids in my family. But just want to know, like, even while I'm dealing with children, like, some tips even for myself, like, because I tell kids certain things and they ain't trying to hit. I might be corny. Some kids think I'm a square till I get to talking to them, till they get to seeing, like, oh, dude, player, you know what I'm saying? So what are some tips to get through to some kids who might be a little stubborn? You trying to, like, make them receive what you got to offer?
So the reason why I asked you that question about the part of the environment is because, like, the media has taught us that our environments are negative and nothing positive comes from it, right? That's what the media said. So people ask me that, I say, I'm a product of my environment because I'm resilient. You know, a lot of shit going on right now with politics and the president, but people like us is like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna be good regardless because we ain't never had shit to begin with, right? So because of that, like, I'm resilient, like I'm immune to a lot of things. And being from the hood, I learned how to improvise. I learned how to, you know, use things to my advantage. So, like, I'm a product of my environment, and it's a lot of skills I got from the environment that most people don't have. Like, I went to a school where people don't look like me, and I seen them panic over the smallest things.
Facts.
And I'm like, what's wrong? You know what I'm saying? Because they're not used to that type of resiliency. They're not used to that type of adversity. So I want to address that. But to answer your question, dealing with youth, I think that we have, like, an approach sometimes to where we gonna tell them stuff and it's just gonna click like that, right? Or we gonna talk at them and they gonna pick it up and just listen. Yeah. And that's just not how life works.
Exactly.
Like, I look at it as planting a seed. You know, you plant that seed and you gotta water it. You can't just tell a kid, hey, get out the streets and do better. It don't work that way. You know, you tell them one thing, you listen to them, and as y'all build relationships and they you know, you gain that trust or they gain your trust, now you can start watering, you know, the flower a little bit more. And you'd be surprised at the things kids actually hear from you. Like, a lot of times I thought I was talking and this shit was going from one ear out the other. And a year later, a kid was like, man, you told me this in group. I'm like, you remember that?
Fact.
You know what I'm saying? So the biggest thing is understanding, like, a lot of these kids have their own struggle. You know, you might be the adult, you know, and they man, like, they don't view you as just a smarter person. They view you as just another person. So understand, like, you got to gain that trust first. Another thing too is, man, it's some key things that attract kids to you. Like, everybody want that bigger homie, but, you know, you being that nigga or the person they look up to, it comes in certain ways you go about it. So, for example, I'm just give you another example. I used to have this white dude that worked with my organization, and he was like, man, we should make more money. And they was basically like, make more money, you work in nonprofit, like, you work for the people, ain't no money in that. And then he was like, well, that's bullshit, because if I'm driving this piece of shit car and the guy who's cracking cars is driving it, how would I influence a kid to go my route? Real talk.
Fact.
So shit, the reason why I even got my Jeep and the reason why I might have my shoe collection or I might have a nice watch is because I know those are things that kids pick up on. When they find out that, you know, I got a building with 9 bedroom, 3 bed, they're like, for real? You know, and it's not a bragging thing. It's a thing of like, yeah, these are my accomplishments and I'm still me. And this is who I am. Like, I didn't have to play football or basketball. I'm not in the studio right now, you know what I'm saying? I'm not asking if you got Chase, if you got Bank of America. Like, I earned it a certain way and I can keep my shit too, you know? So it's just them seeing the real you and you being genuine, and then them also understanding, like, what your accomplishments come with. But it take time, bro. Like, it take a lot of time and consistency.
And for me, like, because I didn't went back and forth with some of the guys, like, when product of environment and product of streets, like, for some people, what the streets are and represent, you know what I'm saying? Like, just really the value set, the code, right? That's kind of what I was more so referring to when I say product of the streets opposed to the environment, because that's really what I feel like I am, a product of my environment. That's why like I say, don't really cast no judgment. Like, I done went out there and made mistakes and done dumb shit and learned from it as well. And I like what you said. That's my biggest thing. Like I tell my cousins, like, man, don't talk at your daughter. You talk to them. Stop talking at them. You feel me? Shout out to you know.
I also ask more questions than I like.
Talk
to them.
Saying that's how I was. Like
I want to understand why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Do you even understand why you're doing this? A lot of times they just be doing shit. You know what I'm saying?
You get them to talk logical. like they can't. I've been in plenty of situations where they really can't answer the question because like when they really get to thinking about it, like, why do I like?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
The funniest question I ask my shorties who like gang involved, I be like, all right, so when you plan on, like, what's your plan to get out the streets? Or how long you plan on being in the streets? They never have an answer because they never think about the end goal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's only a few ways out the streets.
Yeah.
You know, I just happen to take a route that's rare, but most niggas don't take that route out.
Yeah,
most of the routes out is literally most time in jail or I'm at their funerals, you know what I'm saying? So when I ask a student that, you get them thinking about other stuff like, damn, how long am I gonna do this? How long do I last doing this? We watched the whole drill era die before our very eyes.
Tough. So, man, speaking of such, like you touched on something with your response to the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's some like misconceptions that you see the media and like even some of the elders? Cause I feel like a lot of the elders kind of like look down on the youth and just due to the gap and the lack of understanding and lack of patience to understand. So like, what's some like misconceptions that you kind of like see that's common that you notice, you know what I'm saying, in your work?
A lot of them, bro. So, man, the media, I was just in DC this weekend for a mentorship summit. Went out to eat or whatever. Some girl was celebrating a birthday. They was like mid-30s. Not even young girls, you know what I'm saying? Not old, but like they weren't kids.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm from Chicago, and the NC was like, oh, you from Chicago? It's dangerous. You know, you from O Block? And the reality is, bro, Chicago not even like the top 14 most violent cities, like statistically, not my opinion. That's actually factual data.
Right.
Like we're not. You know, we're not even in the top 10 highest cost of living, right? But unfortunately, that's what gets highlighted. Like, that's what most of the interviews are about. Shit like this, it get 100 views, you know what I'm saying, on YouTube. But if I put out a gun in the middle of this interview, I kid you not, we'll probably hit 500K to a million. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's just what it is, but that's a misconception, bro. Like, Chicago is more than violence, and it's a lot more because, bro, I got shorties at Simeon, Morgan Park, Finger, Julian. I got Kelly High School. I got Curie. We at Thornton Fractional in the South Suburbs. We do programming over East, like in Greater Grand Crossing and South Shore. And we got Crane. We got West Side schools and all that.
And the man is impacting a lot of. Those some heavy hitting schools in Chicago. For those who don't know, by the way.
But out of those schools, like I'll have a handful of kids that are 10 toes in the streets.
Yeah.
I got kids who, to me, are brighter than some of my peers.
Right.
They ask me about real estate. They learned about ETFs and stocks.
Fact.
They ask me about that type of stuff. I got kids talking to me about chakras. I'm like, you know about that? Like, I didn't know what a chakra was. I was 23.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? So, and Prophet to tell you, like, we don't want to admit it, but our generation was a little wild. Like, I used to be reading up in school. And I had a good GPA. I had honors classes, and I still was doing what I was doing.
Right.
So, another thing, too, bro, is like, you look at the data, we had more violent years or higher violent years, in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. It's years of violence that surpassed 2012 or 2015 or currently that we just kind of brush over. But like even under Mayor Harold Washington, like it was cracking.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about that. We think it just happening now because that's what the media portrays.
Right.
And that's all you see. And that's all you see. That's what you can believe. My own mother be scared to go outside. I'm like, Ma, you grew up in fucking Pockettown and you used to be in the projects when the projects was the projects.
You feel me?
What are you scared of now?
You feel me?
But because of the news, that's all she focusing on.
Yeah,
she focuses on violence.
I tell people, because I live in the middle of where the war was now. Like, that's why I stay now. My people been there throughout the war. My big cousin, a cop, he wanted my grandma to move from her crib because he was a teacher at the time, actually, but he wanted her to move, but she, been living in that community for forever, West Woodlawn. But I tell people it's more grandmothers in the hood than anything. It's like you really only gotta walk with your head on a swivel if you in the streets. And you like what I mean by walk with your head on a swivel, like anywhere I'm at, I try to make sure that I'm good with my surroundings. But it's young men who you can't drop a location.
That's true.
You feel me? I could do this live if I wanted to and be fine.
Right.
It's young dudes who is like, yo, that's live. They can't get on the camera, and I understand. So that's what I mean by head on the swivel. You really only got to deal with that. That is a thing, true, but it's not as highlighted as they saying like you.
It put on the path and choose.
Yeah.
So I tell my shorties this. So, bro, when I was in the streets, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I remember after my first semester of college, me and the girl I was dealing with was in Chicago. And I'm looking in my rearview mirror. She's like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I had PTSD for years.
Fact.
Like, I sat next to my firearm for years after college. Right. Because of where I was at mentally. So I tell my shorties, like, when you choose that path, you letting go of peace. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got kids who can't be on public transportation. Layfield, can you send me an Uber? Why can't I send you an Uber? Man, you know I can't take the bus. Like, they can't enjoy their city. They can't. Crazy. And now you got shorties now, at least when I was in the streets, my house was broke. So them niggas went nowhere but they block. Now you got niggas out of town, they downtown, they anywhere. You might be into with somebody, they get into the bag, they could be anywhere in the city.
Fact.
You can't really enjoy the city. You know, you gotta go through the back door or you gotta figure out who gonna be where. And you gotta worry about the girl you let next to because she might be dropping your location. So when you choose that, you letting go of peace, real talk.
And the media kind of just try to make it seem like that's the everyday for everybody in the shine.
But it's not.
It's just for the
you highlighting the street niggas.
Who chose it, you know what I'm saying?
And that's what come with it. I could bring up 50 kids right now that do different shit, bro. That's getting athletic scholarships or that's studying technology. Like, it's a lot of those in Chicago. It's more of those than anything else. But they're not gonna get the platform though.
Now let me ask you this. This is like an age-old debate. Like, they say, like, let kids be kids. Like, at what point do you feel like you should expose the youth to like certain realities of the real world, or like, you know, you want to let them have fun? I guess they say ignorance is bliss, but like, how soon, how early do you think it is to start letting these kids know the world they live in? You know what I mean?
So I think you got to observe the youth, and at the same time, you have to be honest with your situation. So I'm gonna tell you what I mean. Like, my mother was young, but my mother never sugarcoated anything from me, like, at all. So I remember I had like a condom in my book bag in first grade. I don't know why I had it, bro. When she found that, it wasn't like, what's this? It was more so like, let me talk to you about what this means. Let me give you the information about what this means. Mama told me about police at a very young age. Mama told me about gangs at a very young age because of my surroundings. Like, you can't expect a person to survive in the environment without knowing what it is. But like with my youth now, bro, we do something we might use polls everywhere, and we say, you know, ask any question you want to ask, and they let me know where their head is at, because they're asking the questions anonymously, and I'm learning shit from them too. Like, the whole kid boy, they gave me the whole script of how that even works. I didn't even know. You know what I'm saying? Like, but this is where their head is at though. So I'm like, okay, and I got youth that's into Grand Theft Auto, or I got youth they don't want to go to school at all. A lot of my stories, they anti-college because of what they see in the world. You know what I'm saying? So it just, sometimes them asking the question let you know what to expose them to. So yeah, let kids be kids, but don't let kids be idiots. That's how I look at it too. If they around that, especially in schools, like, a lot of times you might not tell your kid about something, but they hearing it from their classmates. And they're probably hearing the wrong thing.
Facts.
Like,
or from their teachers.
Man, I got shorties 15, 16, and the stuff they know about sex ed is crazy. Like, or the lack thereof is crazy. Like, I done got asked some wild questions. I'm happy they asked me, but it's like, I mean, I got kids who thinking you can only, you know, get STDs one way. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, they don't know. And ain't nobody telling them. Their parents not telling them. So, man, talk to your youth.
Yeah, definitely.
You can dumb it down. If you don't know how to give it to them, put it in ChatGPT and say, how do I explain this to a first grader?
Yeah, and honestly, and that's tough. That's tough, right? Shout out to the new AI shorty.
Hey, for real.
Because that's my biggest thing, man. Like, I don't have kids yet, right? I want to have kids at some point. I feel like as early as a kid can process what you're saying, let them know. And how do you know? Just by kind of, like you say, talking to them, seeing what they head at, seeing, you know, like, I feel like the longer you wait, the longer, because they sponges and they're gonna get the information.
And they pick up all the wrong things,
and then they start developing what their reality is, and you wait too long, it'll be kind of hard to redirect. But if you get them early, and if you somebody who a parent, a mentor, guardian, you should have some type of sway or influence over them to where if you get them early enough, then you can help put them in the right direction. But if you wait too long, they gonna learn something from somewhere. Like, you ain't the only person teaching your kid. I know plenty women, like, their kid get to singing a song. Where you learn that?
And I be like, also, man, parents. So, like, I'm also not a father, right? I just work with everybody else
right.
for now. A lot of the time when I talk to parents, they be surprised at some of the things their kids say, because in the social setting, they're different than at home. You know what I'm saying? And as they get older, most parents see their kids, between like in the morning, they wake them up maybe 6 o'clock, they out the house about 7:30, and then they in any extracurricular activities, they probably back in the house at 6, 7. So it's like you got 9 hours of the day that you don't even know what your kid doing. For real.
In real life.
So a lot of stuff they come in group with or they talk to us about, they don't share with their parents because they might love their parents to death. They might have a close relationship, but that's not something they want to share with their OG or their pops. So they come to somebody who's a little more relaxed in their approach. Because, parenting sometimes, like, I ain't saying be their friend at all, but sometimes parents are more stern and strict, and it's not easy to talk to your parent.
Yeah, facts. I mean, then people forget that they was kids, I find. Like, if you remember, put yourself in the shoes that you was in. Like, that everything your parents told you to do, you ain't do.
It's the truth.
He know better. Yeah, he remember what you said, but how many times you knew curfew was curfew and you either snuck out or said forget it.
Yep.
Right? So, have some grace. That's kind of like, you talked about, I don't even know if that was on camera, but you kind of mentioned how, every certain nonprofits offer certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Talk to the people about, like, what your nonprofit is specifically about. And then I got to follow up after you.
So Urban Male Network, our biggest thing is dispelling the negative image of the urban male. You think about urban, normally you associate it with black. You think about the hood, the environment, and you associate that with normally negatively.
Yeah.
You normally thinking about somebody who just a gang member, and I'm not the gang member because, I was one, right? But you think about people that just focus on the worst things to offer. But that's not really the case. A lot of our shorties in our environments are brilliant.
Brilliant.
You know what I'm saying? They're brilliant. And there might be some obstacles stopping them from reaching their brilliance. And we try our best to remove those obstacles. We try our best to be a resource, be a partner, be a mentor to help navigate them through that. So that's pretty much the vision of and the mission of Urban Male Network. The vision is to provide resources so all our young men can succeed in the city.
It's kind of like what the few little things that you got that kind of led you on the path that you went on. I forget the name of the park over east when you was a shorty. They would let you go golfing when you was a kid.
Yeah, Rebecca Crown Youth Center.
You just kind of taking that to another level. Like, yo, only if some of me and my peers had XYZ, let's get these kids XYZ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's dope. I'm gonna definitely get more in tune. Like, I remember a couple years ago we did the Juneteenth thing. That's kind of when I first heard about you and what you got going on. And I be peeping you on Facebook or whatever. So I definitely see you active, man. Like, let me ask, how do you, like, you kind of talked about this a little bit too, but, like, how do you balance? Because BAM, that's nonprofit, but that's your gig, so you get paid, right? So, but, like, how do you balance, like, the, giving back versus the financial, just building up your financial well-being and wealth, net worth, and, because for some, for the kids especially, you're really in a good spot now I'm thinking about it, because the more, you ain't gonna be too flashy, but the more things you get, the more you could, the more you can.
Or give back, or?
No, the more like you said, you got a G.
Right.
Like, if you was to go buy a nice watch, like the kids gonna see that. Now you could tap into the youth a little bit easier.
Right.
Like, you don't strike me as nobody who like super vain, but like, is that something you even think about, balancing having money and being somebody who like boots on the ground?
Yeah, bro. So I've been a hustler since
before
a very long time, bro. I used to sell CDs, DVDs, loot squares, ammo, weed, whatever I could to make $1. I was doing that, right? But I think it's a matter of changing your hustle. Like right now, my life mission is my hustle. My life mission, and my Instagram is My Vision Lives. My life mission is to put things in place that's gonna succeed me. You know, my physical being only gonna be here for so long, right? So just like you are, right? Like you were into film, into getting your voice out there, and you made it your business, right? Same thing I did with nonprofit work. So I don't look at it as work. Like I don't ever wake up. I rarely ever wake up, bro, and be like, work today. That's a blessing.
That's a blessing.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a blessing.
I base my life on the 4 forms of wealth. So the first, of course, is financial. We know about that. Like you gotta get the money, right? The second is, health. Making sure I'm eating right, making sure I'm being active. The third is one that we forget about, and that's social capital, it's social wealth. Who I know. You know what I'm saying? Like I went to high school with Prophet, and a lot of our classmates probably doing other shit, but if I know somebody that's from where I'm from who I relate to, I'm gonna try to build that network because I need my network. So my social capital, how people feel about me, how I make them feel, that helps me get my students into better schools. That helps me help them find jobs. That helps me with fundraising, like social capital. And the last is time. How do I make the money without having to spend a bunch of time, or how do I keep time on myself to focus on what I care about? So I like doing what I do. So when I am at work, when I got an event, it's not like I'm overworking myself. I might be tired for sure. It happens. I definitely have my days and my weeks and my months where there's shit going on, but it's the aspect of I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and I feel good about it. So to answer your question, man, like with my job, I have hours I work for sure, but it's skill based. Like if I know what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and I know how to manage my team and put, processes in place, then I don't have to put blood, sweat, and tears into the game for 10 hours a day. 'Cause I know what I'm doing. And I can use this time for other skills to help my team progress. That's how I balance it, man. Like I look at what the problem is and I figure out how to solve it. A lot of times it don't take 7, 8, 9 hours to solve a problem. It takes you being dedicated and putting your energy into it. And plus I've been doing it for a long time. When I first started off, I was busting my ass, bro. I had 3 jobs in nonprofit.
Fact.
Like I'm going from the school to Mercy Home for Boys and Girls. I'm going to Gary Company Youth Center. Like I was humping, but now that I'm in leadership, it's easier for me to coach and to help more so to have to be the boots on the ground all the time. I still do direct services, but
So for somebody who want to get into mentorship or start their own nonprofit, kind of like following your footsteps, you got some advice for somebody young, coming out of college, or even going into college who kind of want to, deal with the youth?
Yeah, for sure. One, man, is not no shortcuts with this at all. You got to put the time in. You have to be intentional. This is not something you could do because you're bored and ain't got nothing else to do. I look at a few professions. I look at police officers like that. I look at teachers like that. Those are professions where if this is not your calling, that shit is gonna show. If it's not your passion, it's gonna show. So be passionate, make sure you care, because it's gonna be some days the kid's gonna piss you off. It's gonna be some days, for sure. For starting your own organization, I think the biggest thing first is figuring out what your mission is. What problem are you trying to solve? What's your end goal? What's your vision? I think the second is very important, is having a good team. A lot of us, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a Leo. I'm an alpha, I'm the captain of my line. It's very easy to say I can do it on my own, but that's a lie.
Right.
I gotta have my team, bro. I had more experience in nonprofit than Marlon Haywood and our CEO, but at the same time, a lot of our grants come from him writing that. Our CFO, she solved money problems I can't solve, bro. We got audits as nonprofits. I couldn't go to the audit because I wouldn't know what the fuck going on. You know what I'm saying? Now I know how to create a curriculum. I know a lot about group counseling. I know about group development theory, youth development theory. I know all that, but I can only do so much, and I can't be everywhere. I got teams that's running the South Suburbs. I got teams that's doing our teen employment. You know, I might be able to train them on how to do it, but at the same time, you gotta have a solid team. You wanna get board members too. Board members are the people who direct the executive, but they are connections to different things. They might be able to help you with some revenue. They might be able to help you understand what's coming up or some new grants that's coming. Or they might be help you with vision and leadership, right? So figuring out your board, and then, you know, some paperwork you gotta do. It's like a nonprofit document on illinois.gov you gotta fill out. It's like 501c3 paperwork, which they made it a little easier than back in the day. Back in the day, it was a lot of pages. Now it's a little easier. And I think you can get all that for less than $500 in all honesty. But that's the biggest thing, man. Figuring out your mission, figuring out your team, and working on yourself.
Facts.
Because I supervise a lot of people, bro. And I work with a lot of different people. And I have to understand that I'm not always right. And if I am right, I gotta look at what the team wants to do and be able to ride with them. I gotta focus on my own ego, my own emotions. Like I do a lot of self-examination. That's why I love BAM, because we learn how to check in on our emotions as men. And that's rare.
Yeah.
So I was always in a circle of men who can challenge me and I can challenge them without me getting in my feelings.
Fact.
So working on yourself is key. Nobody wants to be under the leadership of a person who is pointing his finger and not willing to like get your hands and feet dirty with them. So those are some of the main key factors. And this mentorship overall, there's a lot of organizations out here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and you touched on exactly what I was looking for, more so just like how to get going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can sign up for any type of. What does Urban Male Network have coming and going on currently? I was looking at y'all stuff online. Look like you got some stuff coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted you to kind of like let the people know.
Yeah. So right now I'm working on building out one-on-one mentorship. Cause we get a lot of messages, bro, and it's like, hey, my son need this, my son need that, and I'm gonna be honest, like, I got a small team and we doing site-based mentorship. So each one of my mentors, they probably got 20 or 30 mentees, and you know, based on their schools.
Right.
So it's hard to do the one-on-one.
Yeah.
But now I'm working on like establishing an urban network village. Like, how do you become a part of our organization without being a mentor? Like, what else can you offer? You might be able to offer workshops. You might be able to offer donations. You might be able to offer
speaking,
exactly. You might be able to offer in-kind donations. You might have some old cameras that you want to give away, right? So that's one thing. But right now I'm working on building out the one-on-one mentorship to where we got the process in place to where we recruit the mentors. I'm creating the trainings that they need. You know what I'm saying? I'm creating the outings that we could do all together. I'm figuring out the budget for them to like take their kid to a Bulls game or they have lunch, working on the background check piece, working on if we could do stipends. So that's what they be working on right now. But tangibly, 2 times a month, we got a Saturday program. So it's on 76 in Laughlin. We servicing 12 to age 18. And we have mentorship, social emotional learning, some career advancement, a chance for your kids to do something outside of the just sitting in the crib around positive male role models. So that's on the 8th of February and the 22nd. And we always got other stuff we working on, man. I really, right now for the spring or the summer, I want to plan a big career fair, but it's kind of like they walking around at each table talking to people about the jobs they actually have. A lot of my shorties pick careers, they don't know what they do. They don't know what they do all day. They don't know what a lawyer does from 9 to 5. They don't know what a photographer does from 9 to 5. They don't know what somebody who owns a club does from 9 to 5. So I want them to talk to those people so they can learn, like, okay, this is what
it
my
takes
job
to do it.
actually
So
is.
if you really want to do this, that's genius. I love that. Definitely love that. Man, my voice, I'm sorry. So look, when you were just talking about the just kind of like mentorship program, situation, it kind of made me think about something I went through when I was in my early 20s called Year Up. You familiar with Year Up?
Yeah, for sure.
Is that something you kind of like maybe see for Urban Male Network, something that's like in major urban cities, like we in Detroit, we in St. Louis, we in Louisiana, we in New York, we in Cali? Or is it like, you know what I mean? Because if the mentorship thing take off, you know what I mean? What if the demand gets so big and you can grow? Is that something y'all ever discussed or thought about, like being international?
Part of me is apprehensive about it, but I'm gonna say why. Like, I watched Bam go international. Like, Bam is now in UK, in Dallas, in California, in Boston. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watched them go international, but what I realize is when you expand like that, sometimes you take key ingredients away. So a lot of the major trainers or the people who were like, who even the founder of BAM, who made me the BAM man I am, like, I barely see him because he's traveling to other places trying to, recreate what happened here. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta understand too, like in every city, even though there are some key elements, like the coaches are different too. So to answer your question, like expansion, it will happen. And that's why I'm trying to build the key components of the mentorship piece now. And, we're still a small team, so it's really about us figuring out how to get money outside of just grants to expand our team and to train men so they can spend time in those places to learn those coaches and figure out how to properly train people and figure out how mentorship should look there too. Because there are key elements that's the same in mentorship across the board, but at the same time, you kind of want to learn what the problems are in that community. You want to know what's happening. And my black boys and my Latino boys having different issues right now. Some things are the same, but some things are different, right? My youth that identify as LGBTQ are having different issues right now that my other kids not having. My kids in the private schools are having different issues than the kids in the public schools. So in every city, that's different. So to answer your question, yeah, expansion will happen, but I want to master this Chicago, which is definitely impossible, right? But I want us to be able to have a formula so smooth that I could recreate it anywhere and just change a few elements without losing the brand.
No, mastering it might be impossible, but I can definitely say that BAM, again, I know some people that went through it too. I can't think off the top of my head, but I mean, it's been around and I didn't even know they was international. I didn't, so
even the UK
might not could fully solve this, but you probably could. I personally don't believe in as long as I touch one person and change one person, my job, I feel success. I don't believe in that personally. It depends. I feel like I've done that already, honestly. But I feel like I'm not in it for that. Like, I got a more revolutionary goals and spirit. Like, if I don't and I only help one person, I could probably be cool. Like, I ain't gonna feel like a loser, failure, but that's not what I'm, in this for, just to help one person. So you might not be able to solve Chicago, but you probably could be impactful enough to where a lot of lives is changed and a lot of perspectives and values is changed. Like,
I hope and pray.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of the way I see it.
I mean, think about it like this, like, I still listen to rap music, I still listen to drill, with a bunch of other stuff, but Dirk said, your homie be alive, you didn't gas him up. I look at it a different way. Like, you gas Shorty up and now he might be in tech field. He might be in the military. You got to gas our Shorties up just in a different direction.
Right.
So that one person you gas up might be the person to drive the bus to a whole different method that helps change the city. So, you might be the spark, like Tupac said. A lot of times this work seems is selfless. Some days I feel like I'm wasting my time. Some days I tell a shorty to just only go left and that nigga will go right instantly.
Nah, cause one of your achievements earlier just about like having a young man kind of literally following some of your footsteps, like that right there is the one win that if you only help one person, then your job, like you got that. So it's like, with that mentality, bro. Yeah, but with that mentality, some people will settle.
Yeah.
No, that drive you and make you want to do more.
And
You know what I'm saying?
And I had to, because like, for a while, bro, I had lost some students like back to back, like even from his time frame when he was a student.
Yeah.
I got, some in jail for life. So like those wins, like you need that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because doing this work, it's kind of like, it gets defeating sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when you turn on the TV and all they show is that.
I mean, but those wins is what, like I say, the reason that I could say you likely would be impactful and then do more than just help one person. Like that one story is one of many, and that's what we need. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you on that.
We need I think a lot of people like feel like they do one thing, it could chill here, and I fall victim to it too. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, Marga's gotta like, I heard Umar said, it might have been in one of the Hidden Colors, maybe in something else, like raising a kid ain't like this. It shouldn't be like this. Like it starts at home, and it's like really like this. Like, group effort like that. And, I don't have kids, but I still pour into children. And it really kind of make me want to have kids even more. Like I was telling you, and like you mentioned, when you at work and sometimes you got ideas that might not get heard, I be telling my little cousins, I'll be telling kids certain things under the value set, and they mamas be like, don't tell them that. Don't tell them Santa Claus that. Santa Christmas. It's like, I gotta have my own, because you can't tell me what I can and can't tell my own kids, shorty. So,
right.
And I definitely feel like, a legacy, man, being able to pass down some things to see if it's stick and if they want to carry it on, But yeah, man, you got your card here, but let the people know your socials and where they can find you, your website.
Got you. So I'm gonna make it easy for everybody. So Urban Male Network is a nonprofit organization. We on Instagram. Our website is urbanmalenetwork.org. We on Facebook. Our Cash App, Urban Male Network. It'll just come up. Me personally, I'm on Instagram at My Vision Lives on Rickey Layfield. But if you just Google Urban Male Network, you'll get a bunch of options. I'm working on, creating our village sign-up form right now. The mentorship sign-up is already online on our website. And then, you create a profile on there. We have a few groups on there, that we discuss finance, discuss community work. So, yeah, just Google Urban Male Network.
Yeah, and I'll put the link to the site in the bio, too, so y'all could tap into that, man. If you want to shy, lock in. Yeah. Man, but I appreciate you coming through, bro.
No problem, brother.
Shout out to Road 2 Productions. Like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. We out. Chip.
Yes, sir.